Hello there and welcome back. In this video I'm going to work on a thing for, let me just log in as a customer actually, Rambo Pass, and there we go. Okay, so in this video I'm going to work on this compose message feature for the customers, okay? I apologise if the screen's a bit funny and I apologise if the sound's a bit funny. I'm just on my laptop here in the kitchen actually, so I hope this is okay. Anyway, we've done this kind of thing before, right? So this is going to be pretty easy, and let's rock and roll. So we're on, at the moment, we're on a file called customer inbox, right? I want you to open that up, and let me just adjust my margin here a bit. Okay, and where we've got this button, let's change the create message URL to your messages / create, okay? So when we click on this button now for compose messages, it goes to your messages / create. I'm all out of breath and I don't know why. Okay, so let's open up your messages. And we're going to have a thing in here called create. Now this is going to be kind of similar to inquiries / create. Do you remember this for the admin panel? Okay. So I'm going to copy this stuff here from inquiries and I'm going to paste in and we'll see if we can save some time, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of this code and just simplify. So the first thing we can do is get rid of this make sure is admin, right? We can also get rid of this update ID. We won't need that. Next, if somebody hits cancel, let's take them to your account / welcome. Okay. Next, moving on to the form validation, we don't need to validate sent to because the customer's always going to send to the admin, right? It's always going to be the same person, you know. Subject and message is fine. If the validation is true, then fetch data from post. Now, we do not have a fetch data from post here. So let's borrow that from inquiries. Okay, and it goes something like this. However, I do hope, let me just find somewhere to paste this in. I do hope that you're paying attention because there's a couple of things here that are going to be different. Instead of having a thing that says sent to, I think we'll have a thing that says urgent. You can probably guess what that does, right? And I think that will be fine for the moment. Okay, so if the validation is cool, then get data from post. Now, sent by is going to be the customer ID, okay? So we can get the customer ID from site security, and we've got this get user ID thing here, okay? So if we look at this sent by thing, well, it's not admin, actually. It's this site security get user ID, okay? And as a matter of fact, we've got a thing called sent to, and that is going to be 0 because it always goes to admin, right? Always send to admin. Oh, send, sorry. I keep doing that. So it does that, it does the insert. After it's done the insert, we'll do a flash message that says the message was successfully sent, and then we'll take them back to your account / welcome. Okay, so far so good, and everything's looking just fine. Now, if it doesn't do form validation, then it's just going to load up the page, okay? We can take out this because we're not going to do any update stuff. And you see how we've got fetch data from post? We need to bring that up before the page loads so that we can repopulate the form if there's an error, right? But you will notice that we're doing fetch data from post up here as well. So why don't we take it out from up here? Let's be intelligent, right? And we'll move fetch data from post away upstairs, maybe somewhere like this. And that means we don't have to worry about repeating fetch data from post. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit actually. if that's okay with you. So we'll do something like that, That's kind of cool. Moving along, I'm not going to do any update vibes here, so we'll get rid of that update ID thing. The headline will always be compose new message. We will not need this fetch customers as options. We will not need this update ID. And in fact, that is pretty good. And the last thing we're going to change is we'll change the template from admin to public bootstrap, okay? So that's us. Now, if we load this up, it's going to have an error. So I'll just load it up, okay? And the error is that it's trying to find a file called create, a view file in your messages. So let's open up your messages here. And in the views folder, we'll add a file and we'll call it create.php, okay? Now, this is going to be pretty much a page with a simple form, okay? But it will have a headline. So let's just add in the headline. And then I'm going to head over to the Bootstrap website here. And we've got some nice examples of forms, okay? Now, this is on the CSS page. And you'll see that we've got quite a nice form here as a basic example. It's not too bad. So I'm going to copy that from Get Bootstrap and I'm going to paste in. And now I'm just going to go through this form and try and make it a bit more useful. We've got a thing for. I have no clue what this actually does, but I'll just change it to subject, okay? And where it says email address up here, we'll just say subject. On the type, we're going to change from email to text. We're going to have name equals subject and value equals subject. And you'll remember that just before this page loads, we are fetching data from post. So it's always going to have a subject. We should not have any errors. In the placeholder, I'll say enter a subject here, okay? So that's the first field done. Thank you very much. Next, I'm going to do a field called message. Again, I have no clue what that's for, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. So I'm just going to say message. And in here, instead of having a normal form text field, we're going to add in a text area, okay? So if we go back to the Bootstrap site, scroll down, we should find a nice example right about here, okay? So I'm copying that and we're going to paste in. And we've just got a few tweaks to go to bring this to life. So name equals message. Let's see what else we've got. I think I'll change the rows to 6. We'll make it a bit bigger. And inside here, we'll add the message, okay? And we might as well add a placeholder as well, okay? So I'll say placeholder equals enter your message here. I'm running off the page, but I think we'll get away with that, okay? So we've now got a nice text area. Now, this form input stuff, we definitely do not need that. Let's take it out, okay? However, the checkbox thing is kind of cool. I'm going to keep that and I'm going to write urgent and I'm going to say that name equals urgent, value equals 1. Now remember, we are passing an urgent variable onto this page here, okay? So we could do something like, let me have a think here. Let's do something like this. We'll go into PHP and right about here we'll say if urgent is equivalent to 1, then echo and space out and do checked, okay? That's going to mean that if the thing has been selected as urgent, then the checkbox is going to be ticked. Now we've just got a few more touches and we'll be done with this form. The first tweak is I'm going to add another button here. Now remember, I've added a little space there. Maybe you never noticed that, okay? And the first button is going to be blue. So I'll make this primary and it's going to say submit your message. The next button underneath is going to say cancel, and it's going to be a default button, so it'll be kind of grey. And then both of these will have name equals submit, like that. And then for the top one, the value is going to equal submit. I keep trying to write subject, I don't know why. And the bottom one is going to be called cancel. Okay, now just finally, very, very quickly, let's sort out the form, okay? Now I have a little tradition of chucking the form URL up the top here. It's easy to find, saves me from messing about with controllers and stuff a lot of the time. So I'm just going to say form location is base URL. Actually, form location is the current URL. Why make life complicated? That'll be just fine, okay? So on the form, we're going to have action equals, and then we say form location, and then we say method equals post. Now that should be us, okay? So if we go back to this page, and then we hit refresh, you'll see that this is actually looking not too bad. Now actually, I think that we could probably do style margin top 24 pixels, maybe bring it down a touch, something like that, but that is a nice form. And in fact, if we hit cancel, you'll see that it takes us back to the inbox, okay? So everything is looking kind of cool. Now, remember, we added a thing to the database. I'm going to open up your messages. We added a thing onto the database called code. Do you remember that? And every message should now get a code, okay? So what we'll do is we'll say, just before we're going to do the insert, we'll say data code is this site security, and you'll remember the nice random string thing that we made. Okay, let's just generate a random string, and that string is going to be 6 characters in length, like so. So that's looking good. And as a matter of fact, do you know when we create a message or send a message as an administrator, it's probably a good idea to add that in there as well, you know, whilst we're on this. So if we open up inquiries and go to create, right, and the vibe is, if it's going to do an insert, then we'll chuck that, I'm just scrolling up, we have loaded site security, we'll chuck the code thing in. So that's awesome. That means that everybody who makes a new message, the message shall have a code, okay? And remember, you're only generating a code on inserts, not on updates, okay? That's the vibe. Thank you very much indeed. So, I could be wrong here, but I think I'm ready to get... Oh, actually, there's one other thing I just thought of before I do this. If we submit this, we're going to have to... Let me just see. We've got this fetch data from post thing, okay? Now, I actually think that we're going to get an error message, and let me just show you, okay? I'll do a die statement here. And I'm going to submit this message. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, let's just see what happened there. Let me just check out my posted variables. Have I done something stupid? I can sense that people are screaming at the screen. Let's just see what's happening. Okay, here we go. So submit has a value of submit, message has a value. Ah, right, okay. Okay, that's cool. So what was going on there is it was trying to, I'm so glad I got that error actually. It was trying to display validation errors. That was the problem, okay? So that's kind of good actually. let's chuck in the validation errors, right? So echo validation errors, and I'll make these ones p style equals color red. Now you could actually make these better, you know, do one of those alert divs or something. I'm sure you can make it look better. Doesn't matter. The key thing is that whatever you do with validation errors, whether you do it kind of rubbish like me, or whether you make them fancy with those alerts or whatever, who knows what, just make it consistent, you know, make that be the vibe across the entire website, okay? So let's try this again. I'm going to submit. This thing is acting weird. Okay, here we go. So you can see that we have those validation errors, okay? Now here comes, I was saying a minute ago that I think that there's going to be an error. So I'm just going to say hello, and then I'm going to do a die statement, and I'm going to ask you, what do you think the error message will be? In fact, I don't even need to do hello die. You'll see that after we do the insert. Okay, I'll write cool die after the insert. What do you think the error message is going to be? Well, let me show you. If we go subject here and message here, and we hit submit, you'll see that well, okay, there's a problem because its insert is obviously in the inquiries module, okay? So let's just sort that out. We need to load up the inquiries module. So let's just do that. And when we do insert, we'll load up inquiries / insert. Okay, so that's cool. But that's not the error that I was actually expecting. There is, I think, another error here. And I'll try and show you what I think it is. If we do a subject and a message and we do submit, that's the error message. It says column urgent cannot be null, okay? So the solution for that's really simple. What we do is we say, now we've got a fetch data from post, but you know it's coming in as not 1. So all we do is we say if data urgent does not equal 1, right? Then data urgent equals 0. And that should solve that problem, okay? So let's take this out and we'll give this thing a try, okay? So here we go, heading back, and I'll say first try, and I'll say first message here, we'll do submit. Okay, so it says the message was successfully sent. That's not too bad. I'm going to go into the database and have a quick look at inquiries. Now, hold on a second. Select all from inquiries. Order by ID descending. So if we do that, here is the first try. It was sent by 1. That's us, you know, that's the customer ID. It was sent to 0. There's the subject, there's the message, it's not opened and it's not urgent. That is very, very cool indeed. So if we go something like second try, this is urgent, and we say here is, here is an urgent message, and then we tick urgent, okay, and we do submit. Again, everything was cool, and if we refresh this, you'll see that urgent now equals 1, okay? I'll just do one more. Third try, here we go again, and submit. So everything looks pretty solid. If we now log out of here, and then we'll log in as an administrator, okay? So, what was it again? Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father or something. Admin and password, right? So I'm now logging in as an administrator, and I'm not even sure if I've set this messages thing up. So let me just go to inquiries/inbox, right? And here are the 3 messages, which is pretty good. Everything looks fantastic. However, if we open up inquiries, views, and then view inquiries, right? I'm going to make a little style class up here. So I'm going to do something like this, say style, something like that. I'm going to make a class up called urgent, okay? Now it's a class, we know it's a class, we have a little dot. Can you handle the vibe? And if something is urgent, I'm just going to say color red, okay? And the idea is something like this. This is very cool and it's very simple. But I'm going to say urgent equals row, urgent. And then right on this table row, I'm going to break into PHP and do an if statement. And the if statement is going to be if urgent is equivalent to 1, then echo class equals urgent, okay? So if it's urgent, then the class equals urgent. And if we go back to this page, you'll see that the urgent message now has red text, okay? And the cool thing is you can do anything you want to urgent stuff. For example, you might want to say, right, if something's within this urgent thing and it's a table cell, you might say something like, let's give it a background color of yellow, okay? So look at this, you have complete control and you can make those urgent messages really stand out. Now, I don't like that, I think it's a bit much. So I'm going to stick with that. Everything looks good. We can click in, we can go back, everything's solid, and life is good. However, don't celebrate too much because there is one problem with this, okay? Rambo Pass. There's one problem with this page here and with this whole process. I'm going to let you guess what this problem is because it's kind of an unusual one and a lot of people would miss this. I'll leave you to guess what the problem is and we'll cover that in the very next video. I'll see you soon. Bye.